So long story short, I went and played college baseball after high school. Things didn't work out. I ended up coming back home. Kind of just gave up on sports. Didn't really love it anymore. Been playing it and super competitive my whole life with sports and baseball and football, and I was just kind of ready to hang them up. I wanted to just start my life in the workforce and just start my life. You know what I mean? So came back home. Was really lost in life, really freaking lost. So the only thing I thought of was to go to college again, but not play sports, but go to college because that's what everybody else was doing. All your friends, people everybody, it was like if you went to college, you were like on your way to be successful. So I was
Hmm.
like, I don't know what to do. I'm not good at anything except baseball and football. So that's no longer a thing. So I'm gonna go to college and go for business because I was like, at one point, I want to own my own business. I don't know what it is, but I just know business is where the money's at. I'm definitely not smart enough to be a doctor. Um, can barely probably read still. I mean, I can read, but
Enough to
I
run your
still got a little
business.
stutter. You know what I mean? So, um, so I went to college. That lasted my first semester. I failed out in about 2 months. Um, Failed and then waited for the next semester and then tried again and then failed again. So pretty much dropped out twice. After that, I got a job over at Phil Long Ford in Colorado Springs as an auto detailer. My mom knew the owner of Phil Long Motors, Mr. Chimino, rest in peace. So she called him up and was like, "Hey, my son's fucking lost. He needs to fucking go work and make something out of his life. I'm gonna send him your way." So I went up there and had a meeting with Mr. Chimino, and he gave me a job as an auto detailer and slash, like, we called it a transporter. So I'd park cars and shit for after they got serviced, oil changes, brakes, all that good stuff, and then I would detail as well. So I would do that, and then my my family member, uncle, not the one I am partners with now, but another uncle. He owned an auto hail repair business here in Pueblo. So that's kind of how I got my feet into the paintless dent repair or auto hail repair game. So I would detail cars from Monday through Friday at Phil Long, and then I would detail cars for my uncle's business on the weekends or late at night when I got back from work. So after the cars got their hail repair done, then I would detail them for him. Kind of tie the whole job together and wow the customer and all that good stuff. So I started out doing that. I ended up quitting at Phil Long because I was just getting too busy with helping my uncle, and I saw a lot of value into what he was doing, and it made me feel really good that I had a family member who was doing what I wanted to do. Didn't know about the PDR stuff yet. We'll get into that in a sec. But I just knew my uncle was doing really well. He was kicking ass. He was where I wanted to be when I get older. So I was like, I'm just going to run with this and be his right hand man and learn everything I can and run with it. So started detailing cars for him. Then one day, he was paying me $20 a car to do, you know, and that shit was taking me about 4 or 5 hours. So if you do the math on that, almost like making what, $5 an hour or something. I don't know. Um, so I was detailing cars for him, and then one day, still lost, still partying, still being a fool. I mean, I'm still kind of a fool, a smart fool, I guess. Um, yeah, so I was just really lost. I was out in the bars fighting people and being a dumbass and having fun with my friends, like a young kid would do. Then he came to writing checks and stuff, and he wrote he wrote me my check. It was like 200, $300. To me, that was a lot of money. You know what I mean? I was like, oh wow, I get to go buy a 30 rack and a bottle and go hang out with my homies this weekend. You know what I mean? And then I walked away, and he was like, hey, give me a sec. Let me write these checks to these hail. We call them hail chasers or auto hail repair technicians. They go around the country and fix hail damage. So wherever the storm hit, they go in there and fix the vehicles. Kind of like, what was it? The fire thing you used to do?
Wildland
Yeah,
firefighting.
so kind of like something like that, but we fix cars. So wherever the fire was, that's where you went, right?
Okay.
So same thing. Um, so I was like, all right, whatever. So he writes them their checks, and then you know how there's a copy behind the check
Mm-hmm.
in the memo. So I had a little $200 check, and he looked, and he was like, I want you to look at this, and he was like, I know you're a little lost in life, and you don't know what the fuck to do because you're not playing baseball. You're kind of like in limbo land here. So if you want something to kind of maybe intrigue you or something to work towards, if you're interested, I want to show you something. I was like, all right, whatever. So he shows me what they were making, and I was like, holy shit. So I was like, instantly, right then, right there, I was like, I am going to be a paintless dent repair or hail chaser. That's my out. You know what I mean? That was my out. That's what I was going to commit to.
Yeah.
Fuck these guys. For 2 weeks of their time, he made 18 grand, all of them.
How
So
many cars?
they were doing about 3 cars every 2 weeks, and that's like a not a super fast tech. That's kind of like a moderate. It depends on the damage. But yeah, they were busting cars, and every 2 weeks they'd get paid, and they were making stupid money. They were rolling up in lifted trucks, lifted Jeeps, with a trailer on the back, with all these tools that look fucking weird. And I was like, damn, like these guys are fucking making bank. Because I looked at them differently because, they were just like people who came and worked for my uncle. But when I saw how much they made, I was like, yeah, fuck everything else. Fuck school. Fuck everything. I'm going to be a PDR tech and then run with it. And he said, if you learn the trade and you get really good at it, you can be my number one guy. And I don't have to call in all these people because you'll be, you're my nephew. You live here in town, and I want to give you the money rather than someone from Texas. So I was like, all right, deal. So he goes, it takes a long time though. And I was like, to learn it? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I'll figure it out. So long story short, I learned the trade pretty well. In about 7 months, I committed to it. I got an Adderall prescription, and I fucking just pushed dents for fun, and got as good as possible in about 7-8 months. And then the following year, I was his main guy for about a year. That's how I got into the business. And then the reason why we didn't work out, I didn't leave my uncle. I didn't like abandon him and start my own thing because I saw the money or whatever. I decided to leave because his was so seasonal. It's May through September, and you make all this money, and then you basically chill for the rest of the year, which was great. But if you don't have a good hail season, which Pueblo it's on and off, you're gonna be broke pretty much in the winter. So that's kind of what happened with me and him was if there was no work, it was kind of like you're jobless. And I was like, well, I work for you, but after September till the following May, I have nothing to do. I have bills, you know what I mean? So, I was doing like temp jobs and stuff on the side till the next following hail season. So I worked for FedEx. I worked for, I think it was called LB Foster out there by the airport. So I was taking temp jobs to help me throughout the winter to get to hail season. So things didn't really work out with me and him. He just wanted to run the business his way. It was very seasonal. It was kind of like you work for me for this time to this time and then basically kick rocks. And I was like, well, I invested all this time and energy into it. I want to be legit. I want us to be legit. You know what I mean? I wanted him to build the company up so we can have like a brick and mortar shop, offer different services. Basically, exactly what I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would never have started Rocky Mountain Auto Pros or Rocky Mountain Dent and Detail and all these names I had if it wasn't for him. Basically, if he would have changed and did what I wanted him to do for not only for me, but for him,
Yeah.
I would have been working for him still.
Yeah. So how many years did you work for your uncle?
About a year and a half, almost 2 years. So I started out when I was like 17 and about 18 and a half. And then when I was 19, 20, I started my LLC.
Okay.
Just Googled the shit, said, how do you start an LLC, whatever. And then I just went to the Colorado Secretary of State, got my articles of organization. Then I got an EIN number, and then I started Rocky Mountain Dent Company. So I left him. He did his own thing, and I think that following year he only did it for one more year, and then he stopped doing it.
Okay.
So I was fucked either way. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I started my own business. It was fucking scary. I didn't know much.